because this is no joke, y'all. We are medical providers. Like, you need to make sure you know what you're doing, because, yeah. Hey guys, it's Noreen. Thank you for making it to my channel. So today I do have my first patient, and yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys know about that. So I have my first patient today, so I'm gonna get ready. I'm just gonna review some notes, review her stuff. Well, okay, I actually did that last night, but I'm gonna do it again just to make sure everything goes well, make sure everything's running well on my computer too, and then yeah, let's see. So it's a couple minutes until I see my first patient. Just reviewing some stuff on what I'm gonna ask her. And yeah, excited. Well, let's see how this goes. Okay guys, so I saw my first patient today. It was very well. It was pretty cool. It was a good experience. It was a little bit easier. I'm happy that it was my first patient, but it was easier because she had already had anxiety and depression in the past. Um, and she was already on medication, but she stopped taking the medication because of the change in her insurance. So she was on it for a year, and so she hasn't been on it for 3 months, and she noticed the difference. She felt the difference. And then even when she filled out her GAD-7, PHQ-9, I could clearly tell that she did have some depression. And then even during the assessment, I know that she has some depression. So basically how it worked was that she sent her request. She was sent to me on Alma. She sent her request in, and then how it works is that you review it. Like, they can put a brief synopsis of what's going on, and you decide if you want to see that patient. So once I accept the patient, I'm able to send her forms, like a clinical intake form, any exams or assessments I want her to do. Of course, I sent the PHQ-9, the GAD-7. Depending on her score, well, it notifies you once she completes everything. It notifies you any alarming scores or anything like that, any suicidal ideation. It lets you know all that stuff. And then you are able to schedule the appointment when you want to. So she sent the request in yesterday, and then I noticed that she did have some depression. So of course I want to see her as soon as possible, help her as soon as possible. So I was able to schedule the appointment for the next day. I also like that you can schedule the appointment for the next day because it gives you time to like go through the chart. Well, yeah, go through the chart, go through it, go through their history. If you need to ask any questions, you can. So I definitely like that aspect. And then I also like that I was able to like really schedule her appointment when it was convenient for me, like when I can do it. Like, I love that feeling. Like, I love that autonomy and just being able to do that. So I scheduled the appointment, and so basically last night, I was just going over some stuff, right? Just going over what she had going on. To see what my plan was going to be. Of course, I already knew that whatever medication she was on, I was probably going to restart her on that. And then of course I wanted to start low and go slow, and then basically just monitor her symptoms, make sure you let her know the side effects. So that was my game plan. Then I woke up early in the morning. It is Saturday, so I'm off. So I just woke up early in the morning, went on my computer, got everything going, troubleshoot some stuff, make sure everything's running well. So what I did find was that what I did find is, so just kind of basically finding your own flow, right? So that's one thing that's gonna take time with us as we do this, as we switch into this provider role. Just kind of get into your own flow of how you're gonna ask these questions and what you want to ask, because you don't necessarily have to ask every single thing, but you need to hit the right points, right? And then your documentation obviously has to be on point. You have to think of it as you're constantly being audited, and people are gonna check behind you. You want to make sure everything makes sense. Like, why are you prescribing this medication? The other thing was I kind of found some difficulty was just basically setting up everything on my laptop. Like, I wanted to have the screen on one side, but then also be able to type my notes on the other side. And so just kind of navigating through that was one thing. And then a template too, right? So Alma actually has a template in there. So there's Alma. I'm using Simple Practice, right? Because you have your EHR. Alma has an EHR, so does Headway. They have an EHR. I don't really know too much about Headway's EHR, but Alma's is pretty decent, right? And so you can use that EHR, but you also want to have your own EHR. So I have Simple Practice because if you stop working for this company, you won't have access. For example, you stop working for Alma, you won't have access to your documentation. And if you get audited, you want to be able to pull those documentation. So that's why it's important to have your own EHR. So that's why I have, I'm using currently Simple Practice. Another popular one's OptiMantra, but I know Simple Practice is less expensive. So yes. And then you also need to have an e-prescribe, right? That's how you're prescribing your medication. That's how you're sending the medications and prescribing it. And so right now I'm using MD Toolbox. So it's free for 30 days. And then after that, I think it's like $38 a month. But Simple Practice actually has an e-prescribe in their thing already. So when my 30 days is up with MD Toolbox, I'll switch over to the Simple Practice since I'm using their EHR. The e-prescribe will already be there, so it will be easier for me to, navigate through that. So that is what I'll be doing. Theirs, however, is, I believe it's like $50. So the monthly for Simple Practice is like $25, I believe, and then the e-prescribe is $50 a month versus MD Toolbox is $38 a month. But with that, it was like I have my Alma here, then I have to go to my MD Toolbox to send the prescription. Like, it was like a lot of back and forth where I would just rather have a one system type of thing. So it would come up to like $75. I know OptiMantra is like $100 a month, and then they have that as well. The only thing is, I know OptiMantra has the option to like order labs. I don't know if Simple Practice has that, but that's definitely something that we will need. We need to be able to order labs when necessary. So that's definitely something in the future. But I do know that Simple Practice is more ideal when starting out, hence the name Simple Practice. And then the price also makes sense. So that is that. So I'm just navigating through that, and then even just learning how to navigate through that. And then, so with the documentation, there's templates. Like, each Headway has a template, Alma has a template, Simple Practice has a template. So you can kind of do your own things. You can pick whichever template you want to go by. I really do like Alma's template. It's just that, so I like their template. The thing with that is that it was just missing a couple things. Like, I wanted to like have a section where I actually documented when the patient's anxiety, mood, stress, that part. So I basically added that in there. And so basically what I'm doing is just kind of tailoring these templates to my liking pretty much, right? So, and then I also added like a suicidal ideation section. I wonder if I can pull it up right quick while I'm talking to you guys. I don't even know where it's at. But yeah, like a suicidal risk, like just the thoughts, any plans, intent, means of access to any weapons, protective factors. Like, I didn't have that in the Alma template, so I basically added it to my template. And then I'm gonna just basically add stuff to my template going forward so that I know what, you know what I mean? So I know what to do. And then I also want a section where I basically check off that we went over side effects, safety, things like that. It's just easier for me to have everything right in front of me going through it. So yeah, that's what that was about. So basically with my patient, she was on prior medication for her depression, and we basically just restarted her medications, but at a low dose. Like, she was at a higher dose, but since we were starting it, I restarted it at a lower dose. And then we're gonna titrate slowly, see how things go. And basically we went over the side effects, all that good stuff. It worked for her in the past, so that was very reassuring. So hopefully it continues to work for her. The other thing that I found interesting was I see like a lot of providers start off with citalopram for depression, and it's because it has better side effects. So I thought that was pretty cool because, they kept saying sertraline is the starting dose, but sertraline has all those side effects, especially those sexual side effects and all that stuff. So that makes sense to me. And then also too, bupropion is good for the fatigue and poor concentration, which was also interesting because my patient, she had issues with that, with fatigue and poor concentration, especially at work. And that medication she was on prior. So I can completely understand why she was on that medication. Like, it just makes so much sense. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And so the other thing that I will say is that this book, is literally going to be our Bible, okay? I have it by my side. I'm looking at this stuff, making sure everything makes sense. It has the dosages for you. It has what are you going to prescribe it for, what do you need to look out for. It has dosage guidance, what you need to monitor for, the cost, side effects, mechanism of action, clinical pearls, fun facts, not so fun fact. And then yeah, this book is just really awesome. And actually my preceptor is the one who told me about this book. You can buy it on Amazon. I do have it in my Amazon storefront. But this book is gonna be your Bible. I used it while I was in school, but I'm definitely gonna use it even more now, practicing just to like. And it's like very quick. You can be like, hold on, let me double check, let me look this up, because this is no joke, y'all. We are medical providers. Like, you need to make sure you know what you're doing, because yeah. So I definitely recommend you get this book. Very necessary. So yeah, I was like looking into that. And so after our visit, I just finished our notes. Like, okay, I took my time with those notes. Like, I was really up in there, like really like making sure I had everything. I probably did a little too much, but I wanted to be accurate. I don't want nobody coming after me, auditing me. So I was very meticulous with my notes. And then after that, you do your billing. You bill your patient after the thing. And so with that that you have to know your codes. Like, but I think the thing is with that too, I know the more we do this, the easier it'll get, and it'll just be like second nature. I know it's gonna take a couple months to get to that point. But it's just like basically just like kind of just getting used to seeing everything all over again, doing everything all over again. Like, I know once you keep on doing this, the codes will easily come to you. Like, it's not going to be an issue. So yeah, I did do that part. I was able to do the billing, builder for the visit. You got to put like how long it is and all that stuff. And you also have to attach your diagnosis. So I did all of that. So that was really exciting. So yeah, I saw my first patient. I'm looking forward to more. Looking forward to get more comfortable, because I was like, of course it's your first patient, you're nervous, right? But it was pretty simple. And then she was also easy, which I'm super grateful for, because she already knew what medications worked for her. And then I did schedule a follow-up for her in 2 weeks, because since we're starting in, I wanted to make sure things are going in the right direction, that she's not experiencing any side effects. And then depending how she does from there, we will schedule follow-up probably about 4 weeks. And then just seeing how the medication's working for her, seeing when we will increase the dose or whatever. But the other thing too that I want to say is that you don't have to feel pressure to give medication. Like, if you're starting off with a new patient and you don't feel comfortable giving them medication just yet, we don't have to do that. You need to make sure you feel comfortable and know what you're going to prescribe them. And then it's also important to like, I'm not saying you shouldn't prescribe them something, but it's just, I don't feel like you should be pressured to prescribe them like right away. Like, you can do your research and then get back to it if you need to. And then the other thing too is that I think it's just super important that we remember to go through the side effects and stuff like that. Side effects and safety issues, like super important. And then even after the appointment, I was like going back like, oh my gosh, did I ask for the right thing? Did I do this? Maybe I should have did that. I should have did this, should have did that. So yeah, so that was my first client. I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to more. It was great. We had like I felt like the rapport was good. I felt like we had a good conversation. I just kept letting her know if she needs anything, she can always message me in the portal. And yeah, that was my first patient. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys want to sign up with Alma, you can join with my referral link. You just need your license and your certification. They actually waive the DEA, so that's like really cool. So once you get your license, your certification, you can start onboarding, get credentialed, and then hopefully start seeing patients really soon. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions.